Hi guys, my name is Brianna Herbalario and I did the top leading causes of death in the United States. So according to the CDC in 2017, the numbers 7 and 8 of the 10 leading causes of death in the United States are number 7, diabetes, with 80,058 deaths in the United States, and number 8 being influenza and pneumonia with 51,537 deaths in the United States. So diabetes. Diabetes have two types. Type 1 is when there's little to no insulin due to the body attacking insulin-producing cells in the pancreas. This could be caused by genetics and environmental factors. Furthermore, type 1 diabetes cannot produce enough insulin. Type 2 is when cells become resistant to insulin and the pancreas is unable to use insulin effectively. This could also be called non-insulin dependent diabetes. Prediabetes could lead into type 2 diabetes and also could be caused by poor diet and obesity. Diabetes is underreported as a cause of death, and about 35% to 40% of people with diabetes actually had it on their death certificate. In 2015, diabetes was mentioned as a cause of death in 252,806 death certificates. The prevalence of diabetes is about 30.3 million Americans in 2015, and around 1.25 million children and adults have type 1 diabetes. The incidence of diabetes is about 1.5 million Americans, which get diagnosed with diabetes annually. So this is basically a map showing the prevalence of diabetes within the United States. This is a demographic chart of showing that men are more prone to being diagnosed with diabetes, as well as Black non-Hispanic ethnicities being diagnosed more prevalently, as well as if you have less education, the more likely you could be diagnosed with diabetes as well. This chart basically shows that there are newly diagnosed cases of diabetes over the past few years and even in the future. There's also a lot of established cases already being known, and also there are a lot of undiagnosed people that basically have not been treated for diabetes. So influenza and pneumonia, there are two types of influenza, influenza A and influenza B. Influenza A is a more generic and has two subtypes, whereas influenza B has less genetic changes and have lineages. Influenza incidence is about 8%, and the highest rate of outpatient visits occur within children up to 17 years old. Influenza prevalence, there are annual epidemics of influenza within the United States that occur within the fall and spring seasons, which is about September till April. Pneumonia is basically the infection that inflames air sacs in either or both lungs. Basically, it's when air sacs could fill with fluid, causing the victim to cough, have a fever, or have problems with breathing. And influenza has been said to be the common cause of pneumonia, which could be very severe and deadly. So basically, here is a map showing the influenza seasons. And this is showing how influenza and pneumonia has decreased over the years. And this basically shows the demographics of pneumonia and influenza by sex and ethnicity in 2013. And then this basically shows the pneumonia and influenza mortality rates over the years up to 2018. So the numbers 7 and 8 of leading causes of death in 18 to 24-year-olds in the U.S. So according to CDC, leading causes of death in 2016 for 15 to 24-year-olds is number 7, diabetes, with 211 deaths, and number 8 being chronic low respiratory disease with 206 deaths. So diabetes, I've talked about this before, around 193,000 people under the age of 20 are diagnosed with diabetes. And from 2011 to 2012, the annual incidence of diabetes in youth was around 17,900. And basically, there are more young adults being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So here's a chart with more demographics. And then basically, chronic low respiratory disease includes chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which basically blocks the airflow. Tobacco smoke is more common for chronic low respiratory disease as a cause. This could be prevented by avoiding exposure to tobacco smoke, air pollutants, as well as washing hands regularly. The incidence is about 16 million people who have been diagnosed, but an estimate of 16 million have been undiagnosed, and the prevalence basically increases as it is more prevalent in the elderly. Basically, this is a chart showing what chronic low respiratory disease looks like. And here is basically the disease with the mortality rate in 2016. And then that is all. Thank you very much.